You are not behind because life gave you less time. You are behind because you said yes to the wrong things. Every single day, you get the same 24 hours that built empires, that rewrote industries, that turned nobodies into names that the world remembers. And yet, most people spend those hours feeling busy, but going nowhere. Here is the truth nobody wants to hear. You don't have a time problem. You have a priorities problem. And once you understand how deeply this sits in your psychology, everything changes. There's a psychological trap that catches almost everyone. It is called the busy illusion. Your brain is wired to feel productive whenever it is active. Checking emails, scrolling through notifications, sitting in meetings that could have been a short message. All of that feels like work. It triggers a small, satisfying signal in your brain. The same signal that used to fire when our ancestors were hunting, building, surviving. But modern busyness is not the same as meaningful progress. Think about a hamster on a wheel. It is working harder than almost anything in the room. Its legs are moving fast. It is sweating. It is committed. But it is going absolutely nowhere. That is what the busy illusion does to people. Consider a man named Marcus, a mid-level project manager in London, who worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week. He responded to every message within minutes. He attended every optional meeting. He helped every colleague who knocked on his door. 3 years in, he looked at his life and realized something terrifying. He had not moved forward at all. His salary was nearly the same. His skills had barely sharpened. His long-term goals, the business he wanted to build, the financial independence he dreamed about, had not moved 1 inch closer. He was not lazy. He was the opposite of lazy. But he had been pouring his energy into things that felt urgent instead of things that were actually important. This is the first law of wealth psychology. The mind that cannot separate urgency from importance will always be busy and almost never be free. The question is never how much you do. The question is always what you choose to do with the hours you have. Here is something strange. If you stopped 10 people on any street in any major city and asked them what is your most important goal right now, most of them would pause. Some would give a vague answer. Some would describe what they think they should want. Very few would answer with clarity, confidence, and fire in their eyes. That pause, that hesitation. That is the priority paradox. People do not lack direction because they are not intelligent. They lack direction because they have never truly decided. And when you have not decided what matters most, your attention becomes a free market. Anyone and anything can buy it. Social media buys it with entertainment. Other people's urgency buys it with guilt. Comfort buys it with the promise of rest. And your most important priorities, the ones that actually lead toward wealth, toward freedom, toward a life you are proud of, they sit quietly in the background, waiting for a turn that never comes. There is a woman named Diana. She was 31 years old, living in Toronto. Ambitious, educated, hardworking. She had been telling herself for 2 years that she wanted to build a personal brand and eventually work for herself. Every week she intended to start. But every week, something else came first. Helping a friend move, catching up on a TV series everyone was talking about, saying yes to social obligations she did not even want to attend. One evening she sat down and wrote a simple list. On one side she wrote things I spent time on this week. On the other side she wrote things that will actually change my life. The two lists had almost nothing in common. That moment broke something open in her. Not motivation. Motivation comes and goes like weather. What broke open was clarity. She realized that no one was coming to reorganize her priorities for her. No alarm was going to sound. No emergency was going to force her to live the life she actually wanted. She had to choose it deliberately, daily, almost stubbornly. That is the second law of wealth psychology. Clarity about what matters most is not a luxury. It is the foundation of every single achievement worth having. Without priorities written down, decided, and protected, time does not accumulate into anything. It just evaporates. There's a reason the most accomplished people in the world talk obsessively about what they say no to, not what they say yes to, what they refuse. Warren Buffett, one of the most studied minds in wealth psychology, once shared a simple framework he uses to make decisions. He calls it his not-to-do list. The idea is brutally simple. Instead of asking what should I do today, the more powerful question is what should I never allow into my day? Because here's what Buffett understood, and what most people never grasp. Attention is not just a resource, it is your most valuable financial asset. Every moment of your focus either compounds or it depletes. When you protect your attention and direct it toward your highest priority actions, small daily efforts begin to stack on top of each other like interest in an account. Slowly at first, then faster, then exponentially. But when your attention is scattered, fragmented across dozens of low-value activities, there is no compounding. There is only consumption. Think about how this applies to wealth-building psychology specifically. The people who build lasting financial independence rarely do it through one dramatic event. They do it through consistent, prioritized behavior repeated over long stretches of time. They read in the morning before the world demands their attention. They protect deep work hours like appointments they cannot miss. They are radically honest about which relationships energize them and which ones drain them. They study the craft of their income not occasionally, but as a standing priority. They have quite simply decided that their future is more important than most of the things that try to steal their present. And they guard that decision ferociously. This is not about being cold or disconnected. It is about understanding that the cost of misplaced attention is paid quietly, invisibly, in the form of the life you never built. The focus economy is real. Every distraction is a transaction. Every priority protected is an investment. And the people who treat their attention like a bank vault, they are not lucky. They are disciplined in a way that most people will never understand until it is too late. Here is the most important thing this video will say. And if you have watched this far, you need to hear this clearly. There is a phrase that society has used for generations. It sounds harmless, it feels normal, but it is one of the most destructive lies ever told about time. That phrase is, "I'll find time for it." No one finds time ever. Time is not lost somewhere between your schedule and your sleep. It is not hiding behind your emails or underneath your obligations. Time is not found. Time is made, and it is made only by one act, choosing what to eliminate. Every person who ever achieved something significant, every business built from nothing, every habit that reshaped a life, every financial turning point was not made possible because someone found extra hours. It happened because someone looked at their life and said, "This thing I have been doing, it is not moving me forward. I am removing it. And in its place, I am putting the one thing that actually matters." That is not a time management strategy. That is a psychological act of courage. Because saying no to comfort, to distraction, to other people's priorities dressed up as your own responsibilities, that requires something most people are not willing to give. It requires the willingness to disappoint the version of yourself that wants ease in service of the version of yourself that wants a life worth living. Your priorities are not a list. They are a declaration of who you are choosing to become. And the hours you give them, those hours are not spent. They are invested. So here's where you are right now. You have the same hours as every person who ever changed their financial story. The same hours as every person who built something lasting. The same hours as every person who decided quietly, privately, without permission from anyone that they were done waiting for life to hand them the right moment. The moment does not arrive. You build it. One protected morning, one eliminated distraction, one decision to put your most important priority at the front of your day instead of the back. It does not have to be dramatic. It does not require a perfect plan or a perfect life situation. It requires one thing repeated. Decide what matters most and give that thing your best hours, not your leftover ones. The people who will change their financial reality in the next 5 years are not the people who work the hardest. They are the people who work on the right things consistently, without apology, with a level of priority protection that others mistake for obsession. It is not obsession. It is just knowing what time is really worth. You already know what your most important priority is. The only question left is whether you are finally willing to give it the time it deserves. Start with tomorrow morning. Protect 1 hour. Point it at what matters most. That 1 hour, repeated it, compounds into everything.